100,000 people lost their jobs last year at the world's fastest growing car company. Not because the company was failing, because it was winning too hard on the paper. Once you see the mechanism, you cannot unsee it. And it is running right now in more places than just this one. What killed the company was not competition, not bad product, not a recession. A number. One internet number that everyone agreed to protect, even when the physical world stopped cooperating. BYD just happened to be where we can see it most clearly right now. But the same machine is already running somewhere near you. Picture a dealership owner somewhere outside Shenzhen. He has been selling BYD vehicles for 6 years. He knows the product, he trusts the brand, he has a team of 12 people who show up every morning because he keeps the doors open. In 2024, BYD Corporate sends him a new target sheet. The publicly announced target for 2025 was 5.5 million vehicles, up from 4.27 million the year before. That is a 30% increase, handed down to every dealership in the network, non-negotiable. Behind that number, leaked internet messages confirmed BYD had also ordered all the suppliers to cut component price by 10% across the board. A dealership in Jinan, Shenzhen, had already collapsed under the inventory pressure, leaving customers unable to register the cars they had already paid for. The China Automotive Dealer Association ran a survey on BYD. BYD dealers were holding over 3 months of unsold stock. The industry standard is 6 weeks. The target sheet did not mention any of that. It said one thing: sell 30% more cars this quarter. Hit that number, you get your bonus. Your margin stays intact and your business survives. If you miss it, your margin disappears. Like completely. The factory does not negotiate. He looks at the sheet, then he looks at his lot. Then he looks outside a market that has fundamentally changed around him. Because it isn't just BYD anymore. Xiaomi, Huawei, companies that used to build your phone, they are now building electric cars. And they are genuinely good at them. New models launching every few months, prices dropping every quarter. The market is suffocating under its own competition. Real buyers are walking in less, comparing more, waiting longer. But the factory target does not care about any of that. He is one dealer, but he is not alone. Across China, thousands of people are holding the same sheet, looking at the same empty lots, running the same impossible calculation. And this is where the story stops being about cars. This is not a China problem. This is not an EV problem. This is what happens inside any industry when the people at the top set a number they need to be true, and the people at the bottom are left to make it real. The pressure cooker was already full. Someone just turned up the heat. So what does a corner person do? They find the one door that is still open. Our dealer did not make this decision on a Monday morning feeling clever. He sat with it, you probably would too. On one side, a document that bends the rules. On the other, 12 people who show up to work because he keeps the lights on. That is not a villain's choice. That is a corner most people never want to be pushed into. He signed the documents. They set up shell companies, small leasing platforms that existed mostly as legal paperwork, and they sold the cars to themselves. You have to know that the moment a government license plate went on an unsold car, 3 things happened at once. BYD logged a successful delivery. Their global numbers stayed clean. The dealer hit his target and unlocked his survival bonus. And both of them claimed the government subsidizing for a new electric vehicle registration cash the government was handing out to stimulate the market. On a spreadsheet, it looked like a thriving business. In a physical parking lot, it was a time bomb because those cars still existed. They did not disappear after the paperwork. They sat in open lots, thousands of them across China. Drone footage started appearing online. People started posting it without comment, just the footage because no caption was needed to explain. Massive open fields on the outskirts of Chinese cities. Row after row after row of brand new BYD vehicles parked in the dirt, perfectly aligned. Thousands of them, no driver, no buyers, no movement. Factory plastic still on the steering wheels. Windscreens still carrying the manufacturer's stickers. Odometers reading 0. Just sitting there in the rain, in the heat, quietly losing value every single day. That footage traveled around the world. and for a moment, it made the whole system visible, not as a number in a report, as a physical, undeniable reality sitting in a field. And here is the thing nobody was saying out loud. Every single one of those cars represented a decision made by someone who felt they had no other choice. Multiplying that by thousands of dealerships across an entire country, all running the same calculation at the same time. That is not a fraud. That is a system producing the outcome it was designed to produce. Now the dealership owner has a problem with no clean solution. He owns a fleet of cars that are legally used, physically brand new, and completely unsellable at full price. The rule is simple and permanent. Once a car is registered, even to a shell company, even for one day, it can never be sold as new again. So dealers did the only thing left. They dumped inventory into second-hand apps, 30, sometimes 40% below showroom price. Think about what that feels like from where you are sitting. You saved for a year, you researched for months, you walked into a BYD showroom, paid full price, drove home feeling like you made a smart decision. 3 weeks later, your neighbor finds the exact same model on a resale app. Factory smell still inside, same trim level, nearly half your price. You did not just lose the money on paper. If you finance that car, your loan is now secure against an asset worth significantly less than what you borrowed. Every monthly payment from that point forward is a quiet reminder that someone upstream needed a number to be true and passed the cost of that line directly down to you. That feeling spread faster than any advertisement. And then something worse arrived. Because a car sitting idle in a field for 6 months is not the same car it was when it left the factory. The battery you paid for, the one the salesperson told you would last a decade, had been slowly dying in the rain before you ever touched the steering wheel. Not visibly, not dramatically, quietly, the kind of damage that only shows up 8 months later when the range drops and the dealer shrugs. And the warranty that was supposed to protect you, it started running the day the shell company put a plate on the car, not the day you bought it. You did not buy a new car with a full battery warranty. You bought a car that had already been aging for months with a warranty that was already counting down, sold you at a discount that suddenly made perfect sense. At this point, you are probably thinking the same thing most people think. Why not just ship them overseas? To Europe, Southeast Asia, the Middle East, sell them as affordable used vehicles, clear the lots, and move on. Unfortunately, the door closed too. In the late 2025, the Chinese government officially banned the export of 0-kilometer ghost cars. Western governments were already preparing tariff responses. The international pressure was impossible to ignore. With one policy announcement, every unsold car in every overflow lot became completely trapped. Can't sell as new, can't export, legally required to hold inventory for a full year before any resale is permitted. Millions of dollars sitting in parked metal, quietly bleeding. To understand what this did to BYD financially, think of it like a restaurant that pays for its ingredients on Monday, cooks on Tuesday, but doesn't collect payment until the following month. The longer that gap, the more the restaurant bleeds. Not dramatically, but consistently, every single day. Let's compare to BYD's competitor. Geely turned their inventory into cash in 39 days. Their financial cycle ran efficiently, almost elegantly. BYD's inventory sat for 70 days. That gap, 31 extra days of frozen capital, multiplied across millions of vehicles, compressed their financial breathing room by nearly half compared to where it should have been. Remember our dealer outside Shenzhen? His lot is full, his cash is frozen, his bonus from hitting the target is long spent, and the cars he registered to survive that quarter are now the exact thing suffocating his business. He cannot sell them, cannot ship them, cannot borrow against them. He is trapped inside the machine he helped build. For a company operating at that scale, that is not a rounding error. That is a structural damage accumulating quietly in the background while the public headlines still read record deliveries. In May 2025, the government had seen enough. BYD executives were called into a closed-door meeting. The message was direct and not open to interpretation. Stop the China stuffing, stop the false registrations, or face fraud penalties. The machine that had been running for years, the one that turned pressure into paperwork and paperwork into numbers, was ordered to stop now. But the cars were still in the fields. The warranties were still ticking. The buyer were still making payments. Ordering a machine to stop does not undo what it already did. Here is what this whole story actually is. It is not a story about a dishonest company. It is a story about what honest people do when the system makes dishonesty the only survivable option. The dealer outside Shenzhen hit his target. He got his bonus. He kept his 12 people employed for a while. Then he spent the following year watching his lot fill with unsellable inventory while his cash slowly ran out. The bonus did not cover what came next. The buyer, who saved for a year, paid full price and felt like a fool by the following month. Still making payments. Still driving a car worth less than the loan secured against it. 100,000 workers who received layoff notices from a company, simultaneously reporting its most successful delivery year in history. That number, 100,000, is not a statistic. It is the size of a city. It is a scale of what gets sacrificed when a spreadsheet needs to look healthy and the physical world does not cooperate. The spreadsheet said everything was fine. The parking lots told a different story. And here is the warning that belongs to all of us. Not just the people watching from inside China, not just people who own a BYD, not just people in the car industry. This pattern does not need China. It does not need electric cars. It does not need any of the specific details of this story to repeat itself. It only needs three things: untouchable targets, desperate people, and number someone needs to be true. Those three things exist right now inside industry you interact with every single day. The next time you see a company reporting record growth while quietly cutting the people who build it, or a market suddenly flooded with suspiciously discounted inventory that nobody can quite explain, you now know what to look for. That is not a coincidence. That is a parking lot full of cars with factory plastic still on the steering wheel. And somewhere in that lot, between the unsold inventory, the frozen cash, the expired warranties, and the 100,000 people who lost their jobs, is the clearest proof that no number, no matter how carefully protected, survive contact with the physical world forever. Remember, the spreadsheet always ends. Reality always wins.